What is happening, everybody? Trey here, and today, reactions to the classics. It's time for another Joni Mitchell top 10 list here. It's part two. We are going through different periods of Miss Mitchell's career here, and these lists are coming courtesy of our longtime friend of the channel, patron and supporter, Asmund. Asmund, always appreciate you, man. I know you're a massive Joni Mitchell fan, and part one of the list was fantastic. You can go check that out. And then part two of this list is going to go over the years 71 to 74, which of course includes her most famous record, Blue, which we have a full track-by-track review up as well. And Court and Spark, we also have a full track-by-track review. If you want to go check those out after this, we got your Joni Mitchell fix here for you at Reactions to the Classics. But enough talk, man. Let's just get into the list. Osmond had a nice write-up saying, first, some general thoughts. Once again, this is not meant as a definitive top 10 list from this period of her career, but at least partly a personal top 10, which, I mean, I think that's understandable, man. There's always going to be that personal connection to these tunes, man, and that's why I love these lists that y'all bring us. In this period, there were a lot of good songs to choose from. My short list consisted of 18 tracks, and then I had already and done some difficult cuts, so it was really difficult narrowing it down to this list. Well, as always, man, gonna have the lyrics, especially with Joni and her fantastic lyricism, gonna have the lyrics pulled up, and due to copyright, their songs are not gonna be included, but there will be a link to Vimeo down in the description if you want to check out the full meal deal, so to speak, with all the music in there. Shout out to all the patrons who support us, man, allow us to have that server space over on Vimeo. Much appreciated. But enough talk. Let's get into this list. Number 10, coming up here, we have Cold Blue Steel and Sweet Fire from the For the Roses record in 1972. I actually know 7 of the 10 songs on this list, just since I know Blue and Court and Spark, quite familiar with those, but I'm not familiar with the For the Roses record, so I'm looking forward to this one. Osmond noted this is a song describing heroin addiction, probably inspired by the addiction of then lover James Taylor. It tells about both the dangers and the attraction of the drugs that an addict have to strive with, and his attraction to find the sweet release of the drug at the expense of the cold blue steel of his guitar strings. Wow. Well, let's get, and maybe that's where we get a little Sweet Fire in there, the whole fire and rain thing, James Taylor. I don't know, y'all. But anyways, thank you again to Osmond. Looking forward to this list. Let's get it. All right, Cold Blue Steel and Sweet Fire, starting this list off quite strong and quite dark as well, man, for how beautiful Joni sounds. Don't let that fool you, man, underpinning the message of the darkness of the heroin coming through here. And I mentioned briefly as the song was going on, I didn't want to talk too much over the fast, rapid lyrics that were coming through, but I think that Joni does such a good job painting and describing a scene for you, so you're able, as any good songwriter does, painting that scene so you can put yourself right onto the streets where this guy is, man. Uses a lot of colorful imagery as well. Of course, the cold blue steel, and then that sweet fire just brings to mind the images of the burning oranges and reds and whatnot. And the chorus, the whole, almost like a siren, come with me, I know the way, she says, it's down, 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 the dark ladder. Do you want to contact somebody first? Leave someone a letter? You can come now or you can come later. I think that whole aspect, whenever you're fighting that addiction, where you're like, okay, I might have survived this day, but am I going to survive tomorrow or next week or next month or year? Is this thing always going to be hovering over me? And that's what this temptress, I guess, is kind of getting at. And man, I just thought I thought the ending as well, just a burst of it had a guitar coming in, had almost like some reed instruments coming in as well, gave it a bit of a unique texture on top of just being a really strong song lyrically from the jump rather. So nice way to start this list, Osmond. I dug that one. Now we're going to go to Troubled Child from Court and Spark here. Osmond noted that it is a beautiful song with a lot of vivid images. Hey, man, I didn't even read that before I was talking about Cold Blue Steel. He says, personally, I think it is about mental health issues, but I might be wrong. All right, Troubled Child bringing it in, man. It's been a minute since I listened to Court and Spark in full, man. So even though I was familiar with this tune, it was fun to revisit it. Fun to revisit the prominent bass work in here. On top of that trumpet, yet again, kind of gives a bit of a texture and richness to the track that I thought was impressive, man. And I'm with Asmund here a little bit. I think that we touch on some mental health issues in this track, as well as coming from the perspective of this person who's just kind of done with everything, man. I particularly like Joni's lines in verse 2. You can't live life and you can't leave it. Advice and religion, you can't take it. You can't seem to believe it. Noting you really can't give love in this condition. Still, you know how you need it, man. I think everybody kind of is. Not everybody. I hope you guys aren't, but I think life has a way of taking us kind of sometimes into being in a funk, being into whether that is full blown, mental issues like anxiety and depression, or whatever the case may be. But as somebody who's struggled with depression in their life, you do get in those funks where I feel exactly like this, man. You really can't give love in this condition. Still, you need it. And then kind of talking about her surroundings and the people, they open and close you, then they talk like they know you. They don't know you. They're friends and they're foes too. Troubled child breaking like the waves at Malibu. Yet again, I'm going to see what Asmund said. Those vivid images coming up, man. And I just think between the lyricism and the rich instrumentation in this as well, it's one of the better tracks on Court and Spark. So I'm glad that Asmund showed it some love here. And moving on to number 8 now, we're going to the longest tune on this list, Love or Money. This is going to be a live rendition, man, from the Miles of Isles record. And Asmund said, this is certainly a pick from left field. This song is only released in this live version, but I've always enjoyed this one a lot and think it deserves more attention than it does. Well, I've never heard it, Asmund, so I'm looking forward to it. And this was her first live record, a double album documenting her concerts in support of the Court and Spark record with her backing band for the tour, the LA Express. This was Mitchell's first tour with backing musicians. Prior to that, she just usually performed solo and had never organized a tour with a band. So this was one of the 2 new songs on the record. Right. Love or Money, and you wouldn't know that this was a live recording unless you were told, man, because the band, their backing band, was just fantastic, especially that little mini guitar solo we had towards the end of the track, man. Absolute on fire. Had a bit of a almost funky flavor in that first verse, and I obviously Joni sounded fantastic, man. You wouldn't, like I said, I really, it just highlights the talent whenever artists are able to go from sounding like one way on a album and then they sound the exact same live. Like that's just, that's really impressive. And yet again, bringing a lot of great imagery together. I as first listen, there's a lot to unpack here. We kind of got this guy mentioning the firmament of Tinseltown and mentions 20th Century Fox later on. He has this love interest that is not really there for him at the start, and as it continues on, he goes and it notes all because that ghostly girl comes haunting just out of reach outside his bed, and she kicks the covers off his sleep from the clumsy things he said. She commands his head, she tries his sanity, she demands his head tonight unknowingly. So almost like a muse that or a previous love maybe, where this guy made some mistakes and now he's haunted by what he's missing out on, in a sense. And who knows, maybe I'm off on this. This is a lot to unpack on first listen, man. But all I know is that I did enjoy it. And then at the end, she's kind of teasing this guy, saying, "Hey, man, he's trying. He's brought the bright balloons in." And then she's asking, "Well, where's the moon, man? Where's the moon?" And it says he tried, but he could not get it down. For truth or for mystery, for love or for money. Yet again, tight all the way around. It's a tune that was 5 minutes that just breezed by. So next up, we're going to have our first appearance from the record Blue with the title track, which is honestly, that's my favorite song off of this record, man. It just... It is beautiful. And Asmund says this is a really heavy track from her saddest album. I think the song really epitomizes the feeling of heartbreak and depression. And that is well said, Osmond. And that's one of the reasons that I enjoy it so much, man. And I even noted that in our review of this record. So if you haven't heard this song, you're in for a treat. Blue, true to its name, man. This won't get you in your feels, man. I don't know what will. One of my favorite aspects of the track is the way that piano really flows. Gets really loud in that first verse, and then she strips it back a little bit in that second verse where she really is drawn from her soul, drawn from her heart. You can feel Joni's own pain coming through this track, man, and that resonates. And as somebody, as I mentioned before, man, sometimes battling depression, man. I think she describes that feeling in such a beautiful, poetic way here, man. You try to mask it. Acid, booze, and ass, needles, guns, and grass. Lots of laughs. Everybody saying that hell's the hippest way to go. Well, I don't think so, but I'm gonna take a look around it though. Blue, I love you, and I that's my favorite line in the track. Cause here it shows that she's so comfortable with this blue, with this sadness, that she ends up loving it. It becomes almost a part of her that you can't even imagine it not being there almost in that point. And then that kind of comes to a head poetically in a melancholic way at the end. Blue, there's a shell for you. Inside you'll hear a sigh, a foggy lullaby. There is your song from me. I think it's interesting too. This is a song to the blue, drawn from the blues and the sadness that she has. Man, so much to love on this track, man. Might be my favorite Joni Mitchell tune just in general, man. So it's not her best tune, but I think it's my favorite. So I'm glad that you included it on this list, Osmond. That's one that's been in rotation for me for ages, and I'm sure it will continue to be. Voice sounds fantastic on that tune as well. And now we're going to go back to Cord and Spark with the track Help Me, her biggest hit, surprisingly, of all time, man. It was recorded with the jazz band LA Express as the backing band. Mitchell's biggest hit single, went to 7 in the US, her only top 10 hit. Number 288 on Rolling Stone magazine's top 500 greatest songs of all time. Osmond said it is a song about choosing between being in a relationship or being free. Another banger of a tune here. The great Help Me bringing it in here, and I think the jazzy feel of the LA Express, man, really aids this tune. And Joni is able to kind of weave into that jazzy type of instrumentation with her voice, and just beautiful lyrics quite well. And man, it gets to the heart of it. It really does. We love our loving, but not like we love our freedom. That desire to be in a relationship, have someone there to support you, yet also loving the ability to just do what you want, be your own person. Joni really hits that nail on the head in a beautiful way here. And the highlight is I think the middle of the track, where the instrumentation comes full force in here, and you can't help but fall in love with the groove that's laid down, and bob your head and kind of get lost in the tune, and lost in the thoughts, and thinking of your own life and your prospects maybe. And I think she notes too great in that fourth verse. Are you going to let me go there by myself? Go in love. That's such a lonely thing to do. Both of us flirting and flirting and flirting, hurting too. That's a concept that's brought up in the track a couple times, that they're both kind of hurting. So maybe are they coming together to ease each other's pain, or is that just going to be a brief medication before they go on to the next thing? Gorgeous tune. And if any song of hers is going to be a top 10 hit, man, you're going to tip your cap to the quality of Help Me. And now we're going to go back to For the Roses with the track Woman of Heart and Mind. Osmond notes here, this is a raw and honest character study of a relationship and its flaws. I see here on Spotify we got the little explicit label. Joni gonna get a little intense here. Let's see what we got. All right, Woman of Heart and Mind, bringing it in here. Joni with the big time F-bomb, man. I love it. I didn't expect it. Really getting to the heart of this relationship that's a bit on the rocks, needless to say, man. And she kind of is just eviscerating this dude here, and it seems like for good reason, because he's not reciprocating the love at the level that Joni thinks that he should, man. In that first verse, you come to me like a little boy, and I give you my scorn and my praise. And then she goes through, you think I'm like your mother or another lover or the queen of your dreams. And then she moves on into that second verse. After the rush, when you come back down, you're always disappointed. So they had that moment of passion, and then afterwards, he's kind of on to the next one, onto the next thing in his life. She notes, I'm looking for affection and respect, a little passion, and you want stimulation, nothing more. He's just in it, it seems, for the physical nature of the relationship. Joni wants something deeper. She wants that emotional connection. She wants a little fight and passion and spark from this dude, and she notes, but I'll try to be there for you when your spirits start to sink. Even through all that, Joni's going to be with him through the thick and the thin. And then maybe he turned a bit religious, and she questions, is this for real, or is this just stuff you've memorized? And she notes, I love you best when you don't even try, and just when you're at yourself, when you're authentic. So another really strong song here, of the ones that I haven't known up to this point, man. Quite enjoyed that, and I gotta check out this For the Roses, man. Between this and Cold Blue Steel and Sweet Fire, I dug it, and we might not be done. We might not be done with the record. We got 4 songs left, y'all. Coming in at number 4, we have River from Blue here. Asmund said, maybe the saddest Christmas song of all time is about being heartbroken during Christmas. And although it was never released as a single, it holds second place among her tunes as most recorded by other artists. 432 recordings behind only Both Sides Now. It frequently appears on albums of Christmas music by pop, folk, and jazz artists. Fantastic tune, and like you, Asmund, I like the way she kind of switches that the joy of the Christmas time with, being heartbroken by yourself. All right, River, and I ain't gonna argue with you, Asmund. It got to be the saddest Christmas song of all time, man, and probably her best vocal performance on this list up to this point. That one note she holds kind of in the middle of the song, just she keeps holding it, and just when you think she's gonna stop, she takes it up another degree in her register, man. Oh, just gives you goosebumps. Such a fantastic musical backing and piano melody on top of that. Again, but paints that scene. You can picture the reindeer coming up, cutting down trees. It's not snowy though, because at this time, Joni in California. I think maybe that's where that's coming from a little bit. So maybe that double meaning of I wish I had a river I could skate away on. Maybe go back to, back to her home place of Canada, while also being able to get away from the scene as she's coming through a breakup, as we learn as the song unfolds here. She's saying, I wish I could, had a river I could skate away on. I made my baby cry. He tried hard to help me, he put me at ease, made me weak in the knees, but saying I'm so hard to handle. I'm selfish and I'm sad. Now I've gone and lost the best baby that I ever had. And knowing that double meaning potentially as well, I know it wasn't known at the time, but whenever Joni herself had to give up a child in the mid-'60s for adoption, you wonder if that's kind of underpinning some of these lyrics as well. But I don't want to read too much into that if that wasn't her intention, but that's something to keep in mind. In addition to as you're going through the lyrics here, don't have much more to say than it's just a heartbreakingly beautiful track. And now we're gonna go on to one of her famous tunes. I said we were coming back to it. For the Roses, You Turn Me On, I'm a Radio. She originally wrote it in response to her record label's desire for her to write a hit song. Mitchell reveals her purpose on lines such as, and I'm sending you out this signal here. I hope you can pick it up loud and clear. She believed that including words in the song about radio themes would convince stations to play the recording. Although Graham Nash, David Crosby, and Neil Young all contributed to the recording session for the song, only the harmonica piece performed by Nash was included on the official release. Was her first top 10 hit in Canada and became her first top 40 hit in the United States. So let's buckle up and enjoy this one. That Nash harmonica really sets the tone at the start. And again, another catchy melody in here as well. And Joni's she's delivering these lyrics, man, rapid fire. And I do like the kind of ode to the radio and that theme that kind of underpins this whole thing. And yet again, as Joni often does, has some wise words about relationships. And as she goes along, I like I'm a radio, I'm a country station, I'm a little bit corny, I'm a wildwood flower, waving for you, I'm a broadcasting tower, waving for you. I thought that was a cool little double entendre there with the waving for you. Sending out the signals, isn't that what relationships are when you boil it down? Those signals are so important, because if they're out of sync, then miscommunication happens, people get flustered and angry with each other. And Joni's out here kind of waving that flag, putting that signal out, hoping somebody will be there to catch it up. We start verse 2. I know you don't like weak women, you get bored so quick, and you don't like strong women because they're hip to your tricks. This guy ain't gonna be happy, it seems, with anybody, but Joni likes it. And whenever they do actually connect, it seems like it's special, man. And she knows, who needs the static? It hurts the head. And she kind of follows that with that third verse. I'm going to tell you again now, if you're still listening there, if you're driving into town with a dark cloud above you, dial in the number, who's bound to love you. So she just a short, sweet song that I think you could throw on at any time, and it would fit the mood, fit the occasion, and another very stellar vocal performance by Miss Joni here. And now we're to our last two tracks, y'all. We got Free Man in Paris from Court and Spark bringing it here. Went to 22 in the U.S. Song is about music agent David Geffen, a close friend of Mitchell in the early 70s, and describes Geffen during a trip the two made to Paris with Robbie and Dominique Robertson. While Geffen is never mentioned by name, Mitchell describes how he works hard creating hits and launching careers, but can find some peace while he's vacationing in Paris. Mitchell sings, I was a free man in Paris. I felt unfettered and alive. Nobody calling me up for favors. No one's future to decide. Mitchell actually talked about this in March 2019 with Mojo Magazine, saying, I wrote that in Paris for David, taking a lot of it from the things he said. Another song about show business and the pressures. He didn't like it at the time. He begged me to take it off the record. I think he felt uncomfortable being shown in that light. Another great tune here, Asmund. Glad you showed it some love in the list. Let's get it. All right, Free Man in Paris. And, I could go on about, yet again, how good her voice sounds, or shout out to Jose Feliciano, who actually was on guitar at a juncture in this track, or just how great the arrangement was in general. But I want to highlight here, I think this is a great example. It's one thing to be able to write from your own perspective and experience, but the way Joni's able to write from the first person perspective of somebody else here, in this case David Geffen, I think that shows yet again just what an unbelievable songwriter she is, to be able to literally place herself in somebody else's shoes, right from that perspective, and kind of detail out those feelings that he was thinking at the time. I won't dive into the lyrics too much. I kind of explained them at the top, but I like the whole, they're trying to get ahead, they're trying to be a good friend of mine. Those people, you can only imagine, especially in the 70s, the people just wanting a record contract, man, make me a star, put out this hit, and just how tiring that would have been on the management and record producer side of things. And then he notes later, or Joni notes in the verse 2, thinking how I'll feel when I find that very good friend of mine. Maybe here we'll have those authentic friends as he's here in Paris, whereas he knows whenever he goes back to the States, there's going to be those leeches, those people trying to get to the top, man, through him. So fantastic song, and we're going to end this with what I think a lot of people would have in this period. At number 1 here, we have A Case of You from, of course, from Blue. Asmund had a great write-up of this. A song about heartbreak, often said to be about her breakup with Graham Nash. This was the first Joni Mitchell song I heard, and thus I can thank this song for becoming a fan of her. But the first time I heard this was not Joni's performance. I was studying at the university at the time, and a female friend with whom I also happened to be madly in love with at the time was having an exam concert as she was studying music. I attended this concert, and she ended it with a beautiful version of this song, probably made even better in my memory because of the immense feelings of being in love. This made me find a copy of the Blue record, and I was hooked on Joni. Sadly, the song became even more relevant to me a few months later when she ended up becoming the girlfriend of one of my closest friends. Oh no, Asmund, oh no. And I was heartbroken for at least half a year afterwards. I especially remember this song and River describing a lot of the feelings I felt at the time. This was in late winter, early spring in Norway, and I really just wanted to find this river I could skate away on, described in River. But my heart got healed. She ended up marrying my friend, and we are still friends to this day, and I found love again later. Well, look at that, Asmund. I'm glad we had a happy ending there. I didn't know how that story was going to turn out. I hadn't perused that before sitting down to film this. So thank you for sharing that personal story, man. I'm glad it all worked out in the end, and I'm glad Joni's music here, as all great music does, is there to for us to lean on through tough times. So let's get a case of you going, and then at the end, I will give my favorite tracks from this awesome list. All right, topping the list off with a case of you. Starting off, musically, I've always loved that guitar melody, especially in the chorus where it kind of lines up with Joni. Just kind of hits at the same time. The guitar is ramping up. Oh, I could drink a case of you. Just the cadence and the way she delivers that line, so catchy. Shout out to James Taylor, who's on guitar on this track. And man, some of my favorite Joni lyrics are in here. Whenever she's talking, this is really a story yet again of that infectious love that Joni is so apt and so talented at describing. And it starts off, just before our love got lost, you said, I am as constant as a northern star. And I said, constantly in the darkness, where's that at? If you want me, I'll be at the bar. I just thought that was such a clever line, man. And going in, now he's saying, love is touching souls. Surely you touch mine, because part of you pours out of me in these lines from time to time. One of my favorite Joni lines right there. And then that whole chorus of, oh, you are in my blood like holy wine. You taste so bitter and so sweet. Oh, I could drink a case of you, darling. Still, I'd be on that my feet. This dude's so intoxicating there. Joni has such a passion and such a just admiration, almost in a sense, for this guy. And then you get that intrigue in that verse 3 where she meets a woman who has the same mouth like him. She really knew his life, his devils, his deeds, and she said, go to him, stay with him if you can, but be prepared to bleed. So being in that relationship, you're gonna maybe get some scars yourself, but ultimately Joni thinks, hey, you're already in me, you're already in my blood, and it's gonna be worth it. So just one of the best singer-songwriter tunes ever, in my opinion, man. So Asmund, I ain't gonna have any qualms with this being at number 1. And that'll take me now to my favorite songs. I gotta throw love to all three of the Blue tracks, which I was already familiar with: Blue, River, and A Case of You. For the new tracks, man, I gotta throw love to Love or Money. That live version was so powerful, man. Loved her jazzy backing band on that one. I'll also throw some love to Women of Heart and Mind. That was another one. I love the intensity that Joni showed in the lyricism on that track. I thought that was fantastic. And of course, you can't go wrong with Help Me from Court and Spark. I know I named like 60% of this list here, but all these songs were just fantastic, man, in their own right. And I just don't know how you couldn't like Joni Mitchell, man. Just show them this list, and if they aren't a fan, man, maybe they don't know. Maybe they don't know music. So anyways, let me know your favorite tunes from Joni in this period. Definitely leave your list here. Be sure to show love to Asmund as well for dropping this on us. And man, we're still gonna have three more lists from Joni in her various periods of her career. So be sure to hit that big red subscribe button. We're making that push to 15K. Much love to all of y'all. So appreciated here at RTTC. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And until next time, thanks for watching, happy listening, and I will see you.